Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Teresa Tea for Two. I have a cook-along video for you today. And yep, this is something that I have been craving and wanting to make, and I had all the ingredients on hand, so I figured I would show you how to do it in case you were interested in making this as well. And I can't take credit for this recipe. This is not my original creation. I got this from a chef named Rachel Khoo. Last name is spelled Khoo. I'll try to link her, she had an older YouTube channel on Paris Cooking, and I'll try to link that channel below in the description box, and I'll also link the recipe as well. But this is her goat cheese pistachio prune cake, and I know that sounds really weird to you, but it is so good. Trust me guys, it is so good. It's a French cake, and I know when we say cake, you think of something sweet, but in France they do a lot of savory cakes actually, and I guess you could liken this to like a quick bread, but it is savory with the slight hint of sweetness from the prunes, which, come on guys, don't be afraid of prunes. All it is dried plums. If you love plums, you'll love prunes, and they just really are fabulous in this cake, in this French cake. So let's get started. I will start with this bowl here. You're going to need two separate bowls, one for your dry goods and one for your wet goods, because you're going to keep those separate until it's time to combine them. So we'll get started with the dry ingredients first. So I've got this bowl, and what we're going to do is put 2 cups of flour. So let me get that measured out. See. I have the greatest setup for my camera here, so I hope you guys will be able to see everything okay. But there is 1 cup of flour, and then let's get another one. And I'm just using regular all-purpose flour, just regular all-purpose flour from Publix or wherever you get your flour from. Let's get 2 cups out here. And when you're measuring your flour out, you do not want to pack it in the cup. You just lightly spoon it in and level it off. Doing that over here where it's not going to make a mess. So I am good at that. Me and flour, I am so good at making a mess with that. Oh yeah. Okay, and here is cup number 2. Okay, to that we are going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder, not baking soda, it is baking powder. And this is the kind that I use. 1 tablespoon. Okay, 1 tablespoon. And then I'm just going to kind of mix that around, just kind of combine it together, just to get the baking powder distributed among the flour. And I really like this recipe because it doesn't ask you to sift the flour or anything like that, so that's kind of nice. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty good, I think. We're going to be mixing that more anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and set this to the side so that we can chop some of the other ingredients that we're going to add to this flour. Okay, the first thing that we are going to chop is the pistachios, and you are going to use 3 ounces of pistachios chopped. So that is about half a cup, or a little more than half a cup. And with the pistachios and prunes, by all means add to your taste. You can add as many or as few as you like, but this is probably a little more than half a cup. And I used unsalted pistachios. You can use raw or the toasted ones. I usually try to use the raw unsalted ones, but I wasn't able to go out to get those, and I had the roasted on hand, but they are unsalted, so that will work. They both work just as fine. So I'm going to put these on the chopping board and just roughly chop them. You don't want to chop them too fine because you definitely want to see them in your finished product, so just a rough chop. Oops. And they are going to fly all over your cutting board, so it is okay. Try not to get my other hand in the way so you can see what I'm doing here. But basically, you're just going to chop. Guess if I was a lefty, you could see it better, huh? Just any sharp knife that you have, just run through them, and just, like I said, you don't want the pieces too small, but you don't want them totally whole either. They definitely like to fly all over the place. Kind of fun. You can also do this with like a serrated bread knife. I just didn't want to get mine out. This knife's doing just fine, but that works great for like chopping nuts or chocolate. We're not going to be doing any chocolate this go around, but just a little tip for you there, knife skills. Okay. Once I get these chopped, I'm going to see if I definitely want to use all of these or not. If I don't end up using all of these, I can always use the leftover, like to top my ice cream or just to snack on, or to make another loaf of this bread. Okay, so that's pretty good. So let's see how much we got here. Get this back in the bowl and I'll decide if I want to use all of this. Okay, yeah, I think I'm just going to use this and then just kind of save these crumbs for another purpose. So let me put those in a different bowl real quick. Got another one out here waiting just for that purpose. Okay, wipe off the cutting board. Now, you can go ahead and add that to your flour mixture. Okay, now I'm going to chop up the prunes. And these are already pitted, so make sure that you do get pitted prunes. Otherwise, you know, you're gonna have to fish through them and get all the seeds out. Oops, they're falling out of the cup. So anyway, this is pitted prunes, and this is 4 ounces of prunes. So that's about 3/4 of a cup, I would say. Like I said, put as few or as many as you would like. And I do tend to like more prunes in my cake than I like the nuts, so I definitely like to put lots of these in here and just roughly chop those as well. Because again, you don't want too small of pieces because you want to see it throughout the cake when you slice it. It's so beautiful when you slice it. And these just lend the just ever slight bit of sweetness, but it's so good. It's like just the right amount. The contrast and the textures and the flavors in this French cake are to die for. I didn't even realize that I loved goat's cheese as much as I do because, you know, when I was younger, I mean, I ate adventurous things, but I just never really got the chance to eat goat's cheese. So a little later in life, I went to a French bistro. Me and some coworkers found it near our work, and we went there for lunch, and I absolutely loved the food, and I got to try goat's cheese, and it was really, really good. Fell in love with it immediately. So yeah, I've loved it ever since. So you can kind of see about the size I'm cutting these into. Each like prune, I'm cutting it in about 3 or 4 pieces. They'll end up being, you know, a little bigger than like a raisin would be. It's very therapeutic, slicing and cutting food. I've always liked cutting, you know, vegetables and just, you know, playing with my knives and cooking. Yeah, it is kind of therapeutic. Usually I'd be here, you know, cooking, I'd have the TV going, I'd have, you know, maybe something to drink alongside of me while I'm cooking. So you can make it like a nice relaxing evening type thing. But this cake, I mean, there's a little labor involved here. It's not, you know, super quick to put together, but it's not anything hard, and the payoff is so worth it. When this cake is done, you will see. I mean, I'm sorry you're not here to get to taste it with me, because it is so good. But I highly recommend that you make this. I think that you would be very pleased with it. Also, Rachel Khoo mentions that if you didn't want to do the prunes, like if thought of something sweet or, you know, prunes just totally grosses you out, you can put olives in instead, like green olives. She said that would be good. I may try that one next, but I'm just so in love with this version that I haven't tried with olives yet. But maybe I'll do that next time, try it with the olives. Because I do love me some green olives. I love Greek olives. I love all olives. Who am I kidding? I love them all. Slowly getting there. So I hope that everybody is doing all right while we're going through these crazy, crazy times that we are going through. I'm thinking about all you guys and just hang in there. I know I was talking to a really good friend of mine today, and you know, here I was thinking I'm the only one that's feeling this way. Like, I've been up and down, you know, with my emotions and feelings and just day to day, how am I doing? It's been up and down. And she said the exact same thing. She said, oh, I've been up and down. And while I don't want someone else to be, you know, going through that, it was nice to know that I'm not alone and that people understand. So, but thank goodness for telephones and for Zoom and Skype and FaceTime and all that. I mean, at least we do have that, so that has definitely helped. Definitely helped. But I miss my friends and family terribly, as I'm sure all of you guys do too. And then, you know, many of us are unemployed and going through that. But just please know that you are going to be okay. You are strong, resilient, resourceful. These are all things I'm telling myself as well. We're going to get through this. We are going to be a-okay. So just please remember that. And if you're having a low day, please reach out to a friend or family member by phone, or you're free to message me. Message me. I would love to speak to any of you and, you know, hang out on Zoom or FaceTime with any of you guys. Because believe me, I know exactly how it feels. Okay, I'm just going to go through it now, just like kind of rough chop. Nothing too, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. It's going to be fabulous no matter what. The only way that you can ruin this cake is that if you overmix it, and I'll talk about that more later. I mean, that would be the only way. And then even then, I mean, it would still be edible. You can't really mess this up. If I can make this, because I'm more of a cook. I'm not, you know, I mean, I do bake some things good, like I make a really good banana bread. And I make good, like, banana pancakes and stuff like that. But I don't consider myself a baker. I'm more of the cook. You know, I'm an excellent cook, but I've just never baked that much, so I wouldn't say that I'm known for my baking. But the few things that I do bake, I think they are good. That's what everyone tells me, at least. And I don't think they're lying, because if you tell me that you like something when you really don't, it's not a good idea, because then I'm just going to make it more, and then you'll have to eat it more. So it's best just to be honest. Okay, so now we're going to put the prunes in the flour. Of course, I make a mess doing it. Here, I'll just do it like that. Like so. Okay. Now we need to do the, here's my hands off. Prunes are very sticky because they are sweet. So now we're going to do the goat's cheese. And we need 5.5 ounces of any soft goat's cheese that you want. I am just using this, it's like a Chev that you get at the grocery store. And this one's 8 ounces, so I'm obviously not going to use this whole thing. But yeah, that's just like the log of Chev. And we're going to cut it in, well, you'll see how many, I mean, it kind of crumbles when you're cutting it. So, you know, cut it in little bite-sized pieces as best as you can. So let me do my best to estimate 5.5 ounces out of this. That would be, half would be 4, so let's just say, trying to keep the rest that I'm not going to use in the package. Yeah, let's just say that. That looks like 5.5 ounces to me. And of course, you can get your scale out and measure it exactly if you want, but with, like I said, the only thing that really matters that you get it right is the flour measurement and the baking powder measurement. So everything else is just, like I said, add as much or as little as you want. I will not tell anyone if you put less or more. Okay, and then we're just going to cut it, like I said, as best as you can into little chunks. It's very soft. Say about that big. About that big. Even you can even do it a little smaller than that if you want. Yeah, I think I'll go a little smaller than that. And like I said, once you toss it in the flour and everything, it kind of coats it and it will keep it, you know, intact. So that when you cut it, you will see these pieces of goat's cheese all throughout your cake. So yeah, I guess about like that size, I would cut it. I'm just gonna go ahead and start adding it to the bowl as I cut it so it's not all over the cutting board. Because we know we're gonna use this whole log here. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, about that slice, that size. Hope you can see what I'm doing here. I can't really set my camera up on the other side because that's where my oven is and it's hot. So, this is so good, guys. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. I've always been kind of an adventurous eater, I guess. with food, but believe me, there's things that I don't necessarily like, that I don't prefer to eat like anyone else. So at least try this once, and if you don't like it, I'm sure you will be able to find someone to share it with that would love it. I think I want that one a little smaller. This does take a little bit of time. I guess I could have done this off camera, but just want y'all to be able to see how, you know, how to do it. This is not the, this is definitely the messier part, which is why I chose to cut the goat's cheese up last. It's definitely the messiest part, and you're definitely going to have to wash your cutting board after this. Okay, well, I won't bore you guys too much more with cutting the goat's cheese, so after I get this finished cut up, I will be back to show you the rest of the recipe. All right, see you in a few minutes. Welcome back. Okay, I've got all the goat's cheese cut up and in the bowl with, again, the 2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and the pistachios and prunes. And now I'm just going to toss it lightly to kind of coat everything with the flour. And again, you don't have to be too precise about mixing it right now, because we're going to be mixing it with the wet ingredients, so everything will get more incorporated then as well. So just, you know, just lightly mix, no big deal. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the spoon, and we're gonna set this aside because now we gotta prepare the wet ingredients. So for that, and I'm using the bigger bowl for the wet ingredients because we are going to be folding the dry ingredients into the wet. So that's why I chose a much bigger container for my wet ingredients. And for this, the first thing we're going to do is take 4 eggs, and we're going to whip those until they are fluffy and pale yellow in color. And I'm just gonna get a paper towel. I like to crack my eggs on the counter, like crack them rather than the side of the dish. I find that if I do it here, I get a lot less shell in my eggs. So we need 4. There's 1. 2. 3. And 4. It's my fancy one-hand crack technique there. Okay. My hands a little rinse. All right, now if you are, need to get some aggression out, by all means, feel free to beat these with a whisk by hand. Just make sure, like I said, you want them fluffy and light yellow, pale yellow in color. I'm feeling a little lazy tonight, so I'm gonna use my hand mixer. Okay, and plug your ears. I'm sorry, this is gonna be loud. I don't have a mute, so just close your ears for a few minutes. You actually don't have to beat them for that long, really, because they just have to be fluffy and pale yellow. Work a little air in there. only, you know, not even really, maybe 2 minutes that I whipped them for. So not too long before you get to that, you know, consistency that you're looking for. Sorry for the racket, guys. I know that's loud. One of these days I will learn how to edit and I can, you know, mute loud noises out and stuff like that. One day. Okay, so we are done with my mixer. Because from here on out, you want to be gentle with the rest of the ingredients that you're going to be adding. So with that said, we are now going to that egg, we are going to add our oil, milk, and yogurt. So let's do the milk and olive oil. It is 100 milliliters of milk, and my wet Pyrex dish, it does have it has your cups on this side and it does have your milliliters on the other side. So you can see I've got it at 100 milliliters, which is about, if you turned it around, it's about, what is that, about 4 ounces, I guess. But anyway, you definitely should have on your liquid measuring cup your milliliters here. So this is 100 milliliters of milk. And then to that, I'm going to add 150 milliliters of olive oil, which is 5 fluid ounces. But I'm just going to fill this till it reaches the 250 milliliter mark, because that's how much we're going to have all together. 100 milliliters of milk and then 150 milliliters of olive oil. So I'm going to add some extra virgin olive oil. And like I said, just so your total liquid volume comes up to 250. And we're there. Maybe a little splash more. Okay. Very good. So we're going to add that into the beaten eggs. Okay. And then we are going to add, this is 50 grams of plain yogurt. And this is Greek yogurt. That's what I had on hand. It's just plain Greek yogurt. And this 50 grams is about 1/4 cup. So that's what I've got here. And I'll show you the Greek yogurt that I'm using. This is just Greek yogurt I got from Aldi's. So 1/4 cup of that goes in. So I don't want to come out of the cup all the way. All right. And the yogurt keeps the cake nice and tender and moist, adds moisture. Okay, and I'm going to gently whisk these ingredients together. Just gently. Couldn't find my bigger whisk. That's another reason I pulled out my hand mixer. All I could find was this little one. So if I'm going to be beating eggs, you know, to fluffy, I definitely need my large whisk for that. I have no idea where it is. Okay, so there's that. Then we need a teaspoon of salt. And I'm just using, the only salt I really have on hand right now is my pink Himalayan sea salt. Any salt is fine. So 1 teaspoon of that. And This is gonna sound weird too, but you just need a little, just a pinch of pepper. And I highly recommend following this recipe to the T. It really does taste amazing. So literally just a pinch. So just a few turns of my pepper mill. And that's it. That's all I'm putting in. Okay, just whisk that about a little. Eggs. Okay, now we are going to gradually and gently fold in the dry into the wet. And you don't want to over mix because your cake will be tough if you do. So I'm gonna, like, you'll see, just folding it in, and it's better to undermix it than overmix it. And I'm using my spatula for this. Okay, I just hope you guys can see okay, but you're basically just gonna gently add it in. I'm praying that I don't make a holy mess here. Well, there went some on the counter. Oh well, that's just gonna happen. Okay, and then just gently fold. And the way you fold is you just pick up from the bottom and bring it over onto itself. Just gently mixing, basically. Bringing things up from the bottom to the top. Definitely don't want to stir because then you'll break your cheese up, and you don't want to overwork this mixture. And like Rachel says, she says it's, you know, better to undermix it than overmix it, because in the oven everything is still gonna get together and meld together and be fantastic. So trying to do this as best as I can. It's been a while since I've made one of these, but the first time I made it, it came out so good. So I'm hoping for equal success this time. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. That's about as much as I'm gonna mix it. Then you are going to get a loaf pan, just your standard size loaf pan, and line it with parchment paper, which I have here. I'm using my mom's Pyrex loaf pan that she gave me. I'm very excited to use this. I love it. It's pink, which I love. And you're just gonna put the batter into the pan. If you don't have parchment paper, just make sure that you use some cooking spray and spray your loaf pan very, very well. And we're going to even this out once we get it in here, so don't worry. Just use your spatula, trying to get every last bit out that you can. Just like so. Like I said, don't worry about making a mess, because I always make a mess when I bake. That just comes along with the territory, does it not? Okay, now just kind of, see, look at me. Woo! That's half the fun though, making a mess, right? So anyway, now just kind of even it out in the pan as best as you can. Make that like so. Just kind of, and we're gonna do the, you know, the typical, like when you're making banana bread. I was just kind of jiggle it around the pan myself some, you know, just kind of do it like that, even it out. Just kind of zhuzh, zhuzh, zhuzh. Okay, there it is. And now we're going to put it in the preheated 350-degree oven for 30 to 40 minutes. Check it after 30 minutes to see if it's done. You know, times vary depending on your oven. And when we come back, we are going to be getting this out of the oven, letting it cool, and slicing it. All right, see you soon. Okay guys, so it took the full 40 minutes on 350. I have taken it out of the oven and allowed it to cool in the pan. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? So now let's get this cake out of the pan and cut a slice and see what we've got. And in case I didn't mention this earlier, I know you may be thinking, why does she keep calling it a cake when it's savory? Because I know when we think of cake, we think of something sweet. But in France, they do a lot of these savory cakes. To them, when you say cake, they think savory. And I will tell you, this is one of the very, very good ones. I tried one other savory cake at that French bistro that I was mentioning earlier that I went to with my coworkers back when. And it was really good too, but this, it takes the cake, no pun intended. So yes, to the French, cakes can be sweet or savory, and this goes really well with like a side salad. I think that would pair nicely with a salad, or just have it as an evening snack like I'm gonna have tonight. So let's get it out of the pan and slice it up. Okay, so the reason you line it with this parchment paper is so that it doesn't stick and you can just lift it out of the pan. Hopefully that will work. Yep, very easy. And move the pan. And again, this is my beautiful pink old Pyrex loaf pan that I absolutely love. It was my mom's and she gave it to me and I use it all the time. I love it. So I'll put that over here. Okay. Oh, this is so beautiful. It's nice and golden brown. And when you test it, you take a knife and stick it in the middle, and when it comes out clean, it's done. And like I said, this did take the full 40 minutes on 350. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna try to turn it this way to slice. Get rid of this baking paper altogether. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm a little nervous. This is only the third time I've made it, but it is so delicious. Okay. There you go. And I did get out my bread knife for this. So there's that. And look at this deliciousness. Oh, you can see the prunes, the goat's cheese. I don't see any pistachios in this particular, oh yeah, they are. They're right there. But you kind of see how beautiful it looks. And the goat's cheese pretty much does, you know, stay intact pretty well. So this, I should have got my plate out ahead of time, but just put this on a saucer, and that is going to be my evening snack. And just want to kind of give you a closer view of the inside of that. Just look how beautiful that is, and it's so moist and delicious. So yes, I highly recommend you guys make this. If you do, please let me know how it turned out for you. I'm gonna taste some. It is moist on the inside and nice and crispy on the outside. It is delicious. Please definitely let me know if you make this, and let me know if you love it as much as I do. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.